In 2002, George Herbert Walker Bush returned to Chichijima. He was there with a private Iwataki who had watched George Bush crash in the sea. He was building a cave at the time, digging on one of those caves. And he saw from the cliffs George Bush's plane, and he saw him bail out, and he saw him crash. And as he stood there in 2002 with then past President George Bush, he says, "Do you know what the Japanese soldier said to me when he saw the submarine rescue me?" This is what Iwataki said. He said, "Americans sure do take good care of their pilots. Sending a sub for one pilot was something Japan would never have done." And yet America did send a sub for an athlete, for a war hero, for a future businessman, for a congressman, for an ambassador to the United Nations, an ambassador to China, head of the CIA, vice president, and president of the United States, and father of 2 governors and a future president. He has been in love with one woman since he was 17 years old, and they are now approaching 65 years of marriage. Because America sent the sub for just one pilot, we didn't have to wonder what might have been. No other nation is willing as the United States to suffer blood and treasure in order to defend the peace and liberty of others. Abraham Lincoln said, "America represents the last best hope of the earth." And the great French judge and political writer Alexis de Tocqueville said, "America is great because she is good. And America will ever, and if America ever ceases to be good, America will cease to be great." I'm sometimes disturbed by some things that are going on in this great nation. I see that the Constitution is not being followed. I see some of our political leaders making apologies for this great nation. And I don't think we need to apologize to anybody, because this is the greatest nation in the world. We have spent, like I said, more blood and treasure trying to preserve the liberties of others than any other nation in the world. Anytime there's a tragedy in the world, we're there first to help. We are Americans, and we give generously to help others. This is a great, great nation. And I don't think that Alex de Tocqueville has to worry. This nation will never cease to be great because of these great Americans that we have. On January 7th of 2007, a wife received a short message from her husband in Iraq. He said to her, "I need to talk. I lost a friend today." Several days later, after they have a blackout, no one can speak to anybody until 3 days have passed after they've lost someone. He got a hold of his wife, and he said to her, he says, "We were riding a Humvee when a sniper shot the gunner in the head. He says, "I knew he was in trouble as he fell forward. I reached up and cut his straps down and dropped him into my arms." He says he was shot clean through the head. He says, "I laid him in my arms, and that Marine exhaled for the last time. He says, I leaned forward, and I kissed him on the forehead, and I said, 'I love you, brother.' And then he told his wife that I went ahead and gave him first aid as if he was going to live. But I knew that he wasn't. The bond of love and sacrifice between those who are defending this nation is absolutely incredible. We love each other, we'll die for each other, and when one of us leaves in a terrible manner like this, we hurt bad. As Stephen Ambrose said, the biggest price that we pay for war is what might have been. I want to thank those veterans who gave their yesterdays so that we can have our todays. I want to thank these veterans who have sacrificed so much for our freedom, like Jay Hess here and others in this audience, who have done so much and sacrificed so much so that we might have our freedoms. I would like to thank our founding fathers who were inspired to bring the Constitution and were willing to sacrifice their fame, their fortune, and their very lives for our independence. As Abraham Lincoln said, this nation is still the last best hope of the earth. And through severe storms, and though severe storms lie before us, we do not struggle in the darkness by ourselves. But as the early patriot John Page once wrote to Thomas Jefferson, "Do you not think that an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm?" Fellow Americans, I am proud to have been a Marine, and I am proud to have served in the military. I would not give that experience away for nothing. When I look upon the flag now, I look upon it differently. And I like what Jay has said about being a born-again American. When you come home and you look at that flag, it means so much to me now. I am so thankful for this country and the freedoms that we have. And I appreciate it very much. And may God bless America, and may we be worthy of His blessings. Thank you.
And we'd like to thank you. Thank you. We'll now be honored to listen to a special musical presentation. If those members of the men's choir would come up now. While they're coming up, we want to give a special thanks to those that have been on the committee to put this program together. First and foremost, we'd like to thank our stake presidency for sponsoring this activity, allowing us to have it. We're grateful for our High Council representative, Brother Rex Cragen, Kevin and Christy Bailey, Marlon and Eileen Hoffman, Larry and Marie Wadman, Tim and Bambi Gardner, Jack and Raylene Brisky, Lola Burley, and she has a barrage of people helping her. We thank them. Sister Marvel Williams is in charge of the music, and we thank her and appreciate all of her efforts. Wendy Rochelle, Janice Jones, and Tim and Colette Healy. We also want to thank Kevin Wadston. He was, I don't know if Kevin's here or not, but he designed the float that we ran through the parade yesterday, and we want to thank him.